hold on. Let's take a look at the Borysenko thing. Somebody find the Hunter Avallone stream VOD in the appropriate timestamp. Preferably on YouTube, not on Twitch. Oh, well, there's Twitch. Okay, we'll go with Twitch, whatever. All right, what unholy nonsense are we getting into? So, for context, Karlyn Borysenko, this was I became a Trump supporter because I went to a Trump rally once and they were kind of nice, you know? They were kind of nice to me. That's who we're talking about. But she had a bit of a Joker moment recently. This isn't really a Joker moment. It's can I make it through this segment without extreme ableism? I don't know. Here. So Karlyn Borysenko is not a Christian, which has put her a bit at odds with the conservatives who follow her, you know. She's also pro-choice, which, you know, go her. Anyway, so they're arguing about abortion. I believe the baby is a unique human being entitled to life. And then Karlyn says, I believe the baby is a spiritual creature that never really dies, and if aborted, can still be born again if it so chooses. Your spiritual beliefs are no more valid than mine. Stop forcing your religion on other people. So, okay, different views on the soul, the immortal soul. Like, okay, you know, whatever. This is no more illegitimate than your average Christian perspective. So, yeah, okay. And then here we go. I believe that everyone always chooses to live or die. Everyone. Always. Aborted children choose to be aborted. If they choose to be born into a human form in the future, they can. And no, I do not agree with this statement because I do not have a Christian worldview. The statement made by the person she's quote tweeting. And now we're a bit off the rails. You know, this is a degree of determinism that I don't quite understand. And then we get the now classic. Everyone who died in the Holocaust choose to die in the Holocaust before they were ever born. That's chose, probably. Should be. Because they collective wanted to understand the experience of ultimate oppression. That's why Hitler went to heaven. So now we've veered off a little bit, off of the cliffside. Is she okay? She was never okay. So you know she's zoomed off of the cliffside, I think. Anyway, so then Hunter talked to Karlyn, and let's find out.
Hello.
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 I do not have my video on. I hope that's okay. I'm on my video on stream, so.
Where are you streaming?
Twitch.
Okay.
I'm not here to yell at you. Don't worry.
Hunter, we have always had an okay relationship, so that's why I agreed to talk to you.
Hopefully we can keep it that way, because this is a pretty spicy take we got here.
I am coming in good faith. I am assuming that you have also come in good faith.
I am.
This is 1.25 speed. I just want to see what happens. I just want to see. I just want to see what happens.
Yes,
And I'm happy to answer questions while I have my coffee.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I want to start with, is just mainly just a lot of questions. So
Sure.
The first things first, you've probably seen the fact that you're getting a fuck on a backlash on Twitter for this take.
Yes, I routinely care about getting backlash on Twitter. It's the thing that's at the top of my mind.
Right. And, people are calling this like the worst take they've ever seen. So obviously, now in good faith, I'm going to say I don't think that what you're referring to right here in this tweet, when you say everyone who died in the Holocaust chose to die in the Holocaust, I don't think what you're referring to is that they literally chose, as if Jews were like, hey, let's get Holocausted, lol. I know that's not what you meant, but...
Oh, this is cute. I just got an email offering me a sponsorship deal for Raid Shadow Legends on the Vaush pit, not on my main channel, but on my second channel. How cute is that? It's like they've made it, you know? Like they've I think that's cute.
What do you mean from this tweet?
We have to start off with an acknowledgement that this tweet was pulled out of context of a larger discussion that I was having. Basically, okay, it wasn't a discussion. I was trolling Christian conservatives. That's what happened. Okay, I was trolling Christian conservatives.
What's the larger discussion?
So we have to start with an understanding that there is a difference between how we perceive something on a human level and how we might look at it on a spiritual level. When I say stuff like this, I'm not talking about what I, Karlyn Borysenko, as a human being would choose. Of course, I wouldn't choose to be in the Holocaust. That's stupid. But there are reasons on a spiritual level that we might make certain choices to have certain oppressive experiences in this lifetime. These are two completely different contexts. Now, I was trolling Christian conservatives for a good day and a half over the abortion argument because I think they're being idiots. And I was just trying to piss them off. And so at some point it changed into a spiritual discussion about, looking at like my belief system versus theirs. I'm not a Christian. I've never been a Christian. I have a completely different worldview than most Christians. And so at some point I said something like, yeah, I think we all make decisions about our life before we come here. I think we all, every single one of us, choose how we die before we come here. Every single one of us. Everyone who's ever lived, everyone who's ever died.
But weren't you using that reasoning to more or less say that fetuses that were aborted chose to be aborted?
Yeah, which I do believe is true. I believe on a spiritual level, not a human level, spiritual level, that's true. I also believe that when women have abortions or miscarriages.
Does anyone who knows more than me know if Karlyn Borysenko is referring to some particular religious doctrine? Is there something? Is there some like something in particular, or is this just some sort of weird spiritualist salad? Okay.
There is a more than likely chance that that baby is going to come back in a future baby, the spirit baby, not the human baby. I'm not talking about resurrecting zombies.
Right. I guess my issue here is, do you feel like this is
win.
a little bit of like a coping mechanism? Like,
no.
It's a lot easier, for example, to believe that somebody who died wanted to die rather than them somehow dying begging for their life or something. Like,
no, what you have to understand is that in my belief system, you have to take responsibility for every single part of your experience. So just as much as I get to take responsibility for the good parts of my experience and all these amazing things that happen in my life and the fact that I have a wonderful family and home and all these things, I get to take responsibility for that and celebrate that. But it also means I have to take responsibility for the worst parts of my experience, the things that cause me the most pain, the things that hurt the most.
But that's not true, because the good things that you're celebrating are based on your own accomplishments. They're worth celebrating. If you're a victim of some kind of atrocity, it doesn't seem that that's your choice.
I believe that on a spiritual level, we are responsible for everything in our life. Everything, the good and the bad.
But
you can't have good with.
So yeah, this does seem just kind of like a strange spiritual form of victim blaming. It's like oh, your family died in that earthquake. Well, maybe their spirit shouldn't have wanted to die in that earthquake. Makes you think.
Without bad, you can't have hot without cold. You can't have light without dark. We're responsible for everything in our life. It's like
Hunter's
ultimate accountability.
Okay, I agree that you cannot have evil, or you cannot have good without the existence of evil and everything there. Sure, but I don't agree with you at all that we need to take responsibility for everything that happens in our life. Again,
but you're allowed not to believe that.
But you're celebrating your accomplishments. Then you're saying you also need to take responsibility for bad things that happen to you? What if you're a victim of something that was because of nothing that you did?
I would argue that there are reasons that people end up in very bad situations, some of which have to do with lessons that they want to learn in this lifetime that they made on a spiritual level. Not a human level, a spiritual level.
So this is why I'm having a big problem with it. Is this? I'm not.
We don't have the same belief system. Here's the thing.
But I'm not accusing you of coping. But I'm just saying this is generally sounds like a cope. So if I have a grandparent, I'll explain why that's bad. If I have a grandparent, right, it's a lot easier to believe. Or no, I'm sorry. If I have a friend who was shot in the head as they're on their knees pleading to live, that feels a lot worse to me than someone committing suicide. Both sad. However, the person that committed suicide wanted to die. They had that desire there that was ultimately fulfilled. So it almost softens the blow. It makes the sadness a little less, because at the end of the day, they got what they wanted. They chose this, as opposed to the person begging for their life. This spiritual thing that you're setting up makes it so that you are able to essentially put the onus on everyone for everything bad that happens to them.
Yes.
So yes. So the Holocaust victims, well,
everything good too.
Right. Okay. So I understand that I've belabored this point quite a few times, but this is the reason why I really hate any kind of superstition or spiritualism. Like, how do you even argue with this? You can't really argue with this, There's not really anything you can, say. It's just sort of absolutely nothing. Will she take responsibility for dumb shit tweets or for the dogpiling? I don't know. It's completely unfalsifiable. There's absolutely nothing that you could really do. This is what I mean, though. I've said this so many times before, and I maintain it. I really have. How am I supposed to distinguish between this and mental illness? What do I do? What is the categorical difference?
Vaush bad, Vaush bad, Vaush bad.
Help me.
Okay, but the problem with that is, well, then the Holocaust victims, it's bad that it happened, I guess, but they ultimately just wanted that to happen, right? The spirits wanted that to happen.
On a spiritual level, and again, everything that you just said is on a human level. I don't really care if people agree with my belief system. Like, I don't care if you agree with me. But on a spiritual level, yes, there is a school of thought that says that every single person who died, this is something that's been discussed ad nauseum in the spiritual community.
No,
This is
I'm
not
just
like
trying to understand more.
this is not a concept that I'm pulling out of left field. There is a school of thought in the spiritual community that says that every single person in spirit form that was in the Holocaust decided to be in the Holocaust. It was an agreement they made in spirit form before they ever came here. Now, why would that happen? Why would that be a thing that anyone would want to experience? It's the most horrific thing that's ever happened, right? Because it gives us experience. Because it's as a collective, because we believe that everything that everyone experiences in this human lifetime goes back up into the collective and is something we all have access to. If we have knowledge of the worst possible thing that ever could happen, that helps all of us to develop on a spiritual level.
Yeah,
and it
but we
also
could
gives and it also gives us the ability and the information to make sure that something like that never happens again.
Okay, so part of what makes humans really complex and unique is our ability to hypothesize and imagine hypotheticals. We don't need to experience a mass genocide of Jews to understand that that's bad. Humans already can No, we don't. We can already recognize that it's bad because we have the ability to
what our
to
reality
engage with the
would be like
hypothetical.
right now? Can you imagine what our reality would be like right now if we didn't have the Holocaust to compare it to?
Okay, I feel like this might be a bit of a mental break. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't withstand the ableism. This might be a bit of a mental break. I'm sorry. The pressure of being an online figure has gotten to her. It's not easy being an online figure, you know? There's a reason why so many of us turn out to be fucking crazy. Not all of us started that way, okay? It's just the constant attention over and over.
What? But that's not necessarily a good thing. And the big problem here that we have is this mindset, this spiritual thing justifies and basically gives credence to every serial killer, Hitler, all of these people that did bad things. They were actually just doing good things because they were carrying...
No.
Because
don't put words in my mouth.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. I did not say...
You said
No, I didn't. I'm not saying that you said this.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Karlyn, I didn't say that you said this.
Hunter, stop talking for a second. You said that I said that this was a good thing. I don't think the Holocaust was good. I don't think that serial killers are good. I think it is what is. I think that you cannot have good in life without having bad. I don't think you can experience the best in people without experiencing the worst in people.
So if somebody is going out, so Adolf Hitler, or let's just make a serial killer, okay? They go in and they kill 3 people in their house. Now, by your reasoning, is it not true that the reason they were killed is ultimately because they made that decision in spirit form before they were born?
Yes.
Okay, so does this not, in some level or another, justify the acts of the murderer because he was carrying out the desire of the spirits?
Does it justify it? I mean, justify based on what standard? Because on a human level, based on a human level, is it okay to kill people? No. That's stupid. Like, why would, like, that person's going to have karma follow them around the rest of their lives. That person's going to have mental anguish for the rest of their lives over what they did. On a human level, there's no justification. It's not even about justification.
Is that it? Karma and mental anguish? Like, what about the bad thing you did? Not just, like... It's acting like the only consequence to doing something like that would be the experience you have. Yeah, she means your Reddit karma. You'll get downvoted everywhere you go, you know?
Justifying. It's like you did something really bad that disrupted someone else's life experience. It doesn't actually matter if you made the decision in spirit form or not. You're still going to experience the human consequences of making that decision. But in spirit form, is that person going to be judged forever? Is that person going to be hated and cast out to hell? Is that person going to be separated from God? No. It's a completely different standard.
Sure, maybe. I just think that ultimately, by your standards, it does give justification to people like Adolf Hitler, to people like serial killers.
You're talking about a human level. I'm not.
Because on a spiritual level, it's justified by your standards, right? Because they are carrying out desires of the spirits.
Everything is justified on a spiritual level. Everything. You can have whatever you want on a spiritual level.
I think I want to back up a little bit and just go back to what you said earlier about like the Holocaust happening and sort of us like having something as a point of reference. Like we're able to look at nuclear war, for example. We're able to, like, that's never happened.
Nuclear war is not as bad as the Holocaust.
I know, but I'm saying that's never happened, but we're still able to engage in the hypothetical.
Oh, I mean, that depends on how much nuclear war there is, right? It depends on how significant I don't know. Depends on how spicy things get. Yeah, nuclear war can be pretty bad. I don't know. I feel like we're milking like lol-cow mental illness. How long does this go? Oh, it doesn't even go on that long. Okay, we can watch this to the end.
and be like, okay, this would be bad, so we don't want to do it. We don't need to
Knowing something
experience
is
bad
bad,
things.
that's wrong. Knowing something is bad and experiencing it and actually experiencing it are two completely different things. Human beings only learn by experience. That's why experience is so important. Human beings, we can think about any hypothetical we want, but until it actually slams us in the face, we aren't going to learn.
That's just not true. I don't think that this is true. And I also think
vehemently
that this is
disagree with
really dangerous because I think that this is ultimately like,
Okay,
I don't know.
what war or atrocity has my belief system ever started? You want to talk about
I'm not saying anything
you want
that
to talk about
started.
dangerous. You want to talk about dangerous. Let's talk about the Inquisition. Let's talk about the Crusades.
Wait,
Let's
I
talk
don't
about
like
the Salem
religion,
witch
Karlyn. I
trials.
don't like spirituality in general.
But you're insinuating that my belief system is going to lead to a mass atrocity. My belief
No,
system
I'm not.
has
I'm
never
insinuating that your
led to a
belief
mass
system-
atrocity.
No, I'm not.
In
I'm saying
the
that your
history of mankind.
I'm saying that your belief leads to a level of justification for people to commit atrocities because
those people who commit
why don't you go-
atrocities will experience very real
But
human
why don't we go look at
consequences.
like acts of Islam, for example? Like a lot of the times, these people believe that they're carrying out acts of violence
And
to
those people
save those.
Okay, so this is just kind of so obviously there's no real like good end to this conversation. It's pretty much kind of a foregone conclusion that this is going to be a stupid waste of time. However, from Hunter's perspective, I would be much more interested at this point in just teasing out like clip chimps from her, you know? Because like obviously her system is non-falsifiable and unimaginably stupid. So obviously the better thing to do, I think, would just be to tease out like as much stupid bullshit as you can. Get that bread, you know? Like get her to say the most ridiculous shit that you can. Because otherwise, I mean, there's nothing else. Like we're not going to arrive at any kind of logical conclusions at the end of this, you know. That's Hunter. He's too good faith. Unironically, I feel like he's really trying here, you know, which is it's an admirable. This could be my cynicism poking up a little bit.
People from their human form or to go to Allah or whatever.
Experience human consequences, and I'm going to remind you again. My belief system has never resulted in that. It's never resulted in that.
Well, nobody
because
believes
we
what you
believe
believe.
in human consequence. We believe
Then
we
I
create
guess what
every
I would
bad
just have
thing
to
in our lives.
I think I would just have to fall back on then what you're saying about the spiritual choice is a meaningless choice then. If I don't remember making the choice, what's the point of the choice?
The point of the choice is that there is a higher it's a different realm of existence, Hunter. You're not going to remember
It's a
what you
meaningless realm
decided-
of existence then.
It's meaningless as a human, but not as a spiritual being. If
It's
you think,
meaningless
like,
to even
that's
think about because all this is just a hypothetical that
Oh,
maybe
well,
this happened in like spiritual
you know, it's
form
funny.
and we all
so
chose
one of,
this.
one of the things that I've gotten heat for is saying that Hitler went to heaven because I don't believe that hell is a real place. I think that hell is a made up like.
I don't really
thing
care
to
about the
control
Hitler
people.
went to
No,
heaven
no,
thing.
no. I'm going to make a point without being talked over, please. So. You say it's a meaningless exercise. I don't believe it's meaningless at all because my definition of hell
thank
is
you.
being separated from God, is seeing myself as separated from spirit form, is seeing myself as separated from God. So for me, it is very much a meaningful thing to think about the higher level spiritual perspective. For you, it might not be. It might not be part of your life. It might not be part of your journey. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you will be someday. I wasn't when I was your age.
I understand.
To say something is meaningless to you does not mean it is meaningless to everyone.
I'm not saying it's meaningless to you or me necessarily. I'm saying that this choice that you keep talking about, like people who died in the Holocaust who chose that to happen in their spirit form.
To be really clear, I believe every single person who has ever lived, is living now, or will ever live, chose their death.
What I want to know is like, ask her, how do you know this? Like, oh, got to get that out, you know?
I'm just being inclusive.
Right, and what I'm saying
Everyone
is
means
that
everything.
choice, the choice that we made that you're alluding to in our spirit form, is a meaningless choice. If we don't remember the spirit form and we don't remember making the choice, the
disagree.
purpose of the choice is completely irrelevant.
I absolutely disagree with you.
So what's the purpose of the choice if you don't even remember making the choice?
The purpose of the choice is to come to life and have the experience and to learn and to grow and then to go back and to review the experience and then to come back and do it again and to do it again and to do it again as many times as you want to.
You don't just think that this sounds like some kind of a form of like a coping mechanism? Like if you're being tortured and beaten, you're like, well, this sucks, but hey, I must have chosen this in my spirit form. Or like,
People
it sucks
choose
that my
negative
kid
things
was
to happen to
kidnapped
them.
and killed, but hey, I guess I chose this in spirit form.
Do you learn the most from when good things happen to you or when bad things happen to you?
I don't know. You can probably build character from bad experiences, but that doesn't justify atrocities, murder, rape, or something like that.
You build character through bad experiences. You build resilience through bad experiences. The greatest.
This isn't true at all. Also, how would you... Okay, so if your spirit chooses to do this, is the spirit doing it for the benefit of the humans, or is the spirit doing it for the benefit of the spirit, right? So, has anyone here seen the Kurzgesagt video, The Egg, which is kind of like a speculative, you know, spiritual video on the idea that there's only one human who's ever existed, and it's just one spirit inhabiting, you know, 1 trillion lifetimes through all of history? The Egg, yeah, it's a short story. Yeah, it's a really nice video. You know, I don't believe the content of the video, but I think it's a lovely video. And Anyway, in that video, can we watch it after this? No, that'd definitely be copyright ID'd. But in that video, the idea is that your spirit matures through all this experience, everything positive and negative every human has ever done to another. Um, and but I don't understand. Is Karlyn saying like the spirits choose to experience oppression to ripen the spirit's experience, or to give humans perspective? I don't. Can you link it? Just look up The Egg on YouTube. It has like 50 million views. I promise you'll be able to find it.
Jumps in spiritual development that we have are when the worst possible things happen to us and when we experience the most pain.
I can recognize again that we.
Has anyone ever read Night by Elie Wiesel?
Hold on, wait. You can build character.
Anyone ever read Night by Elie
Wait,
Wiesel?
Karlyn.
Anyone ever read The Diary of Anne Frank? Like, I mean, these are
What?
not
You
can
abstract
build
concepts.
character
These are literally
Oh my
illustrated in books.
You can
that are
literally
taught all
build
over the
character
world
from
about
negative
the
experiences.
Holocaust.
Karlyn,
Yes.
Karlyn, you can build character from negative experiences, yes, but that doesn't mean that those negative experiences are somehow justified. Or haven't you heard like make the best, right? When life gives you lemons,
Again,
it doesn't
you
mean
are
it's
talking about, Hunter, you are talking about a fundamentally different thing than I am. You are talking about a human justification. There will always be human punishment. There will always be human suffering.
So again,
that
it's
comes from
meaningless
these.
then. So it's meaningless.
To you, not to me.
Okay. I guess then there's just nowhere else
We
to
are
go from
talking
there.
about two different things.
That
If
is
you,
true.
If you have no interest in understanding different ways of perceiving the world, I can't help you with that.
I cannot
I can
imagine
only
perceiving the world
come-
in a way that I think that people who died in the Holocaust somehow collectively chose that in the spirit realm.
Well,
To
I
me,
can
that
imagine
sounds like-
perceiving the world in which there's a vengeful God that's waiting to smite us at all.
I don't think of that either. I'm not a Christian. I think Christians are dumb. I think the Muslims are pretty dumb.
I also can't imagine perceiving a world in which there's no higher purpose to any of this and no rhyme and reason, and we just get snuffed out when we die. I can't imagine either of those
That's
things.
the most
I think
likely
both of those
thing,
things.
I think.
Well,
I
but
think
you're
the most
allowed to believe that. But that to me seems like my very definition of hell.
Okay, well, before
Always comes out a little cope, isn't it? What's that? Is it existentialist, or is it what's that phrase? The humanity's condemned to find meaning in a meaningless universe, or absurdist? Yeah. What is that? Was it Sartre who said that? What was the quote? You know what I'm talking about? Absurdism. Yeah. That like the drive of man is to find meaning in a meaningless universe, something like that. Yeah. Was it Camus? Not okay. Sartre or Camus. Okay. Camus was cooler than Sartre anyway. What wasn't Sartre still like defending the USSR after some of the bad stuff came out? But then Camus was like, nah, fuck that. Camus was cooler, more based, I think.
you were born, you didn't exist. You just didn't exist.
I
That's
don't
probably what it's
agree with
gonna-
that. I believe that I absolutely did exist as a spiritual being, just not in human form.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's just that I know that we have kind of what is it? Irreconcilable differences
We don't agree.
here.
We
Yeah,
don't,
these are fundamental
Hunter,
differences. It's just
Hunter,
to me-
here's the thing. Here's the thing. This
It's not
whole
just
thing
that we
for
don't
me,
agree, though. It's that this actually does provide a level of justification. Like, let's think about the way
in
that
your,
no,
but
the
that
way
you would,
that people's
Hunter, you are literally
spirituality.
only saying that because you do not understand
That is not
the
true.
belief
I'm
system
saying
that you're
that
talking
people's
about.
spiritual.
I'm sorry.
Karlyn,
And this
I
was
am...
the whole basis for this conversation.
No, Karlyn, I'm
I
literally...
did,
Oh, wait, actually, okay, wait, hold on. I actually think I learned about this. I learned about this from a Zizek lecture, I think. There actually is legitimate reason to oppose her ideological values on the basis of material harm. So Zizek talked about, I think it was either Buddhist or Hindu. I think it was Buddhists. But, historically there were atrocities committed by Buddhists, or I think it was like Nazis who had Buddhist-like beliefs, something like that. Listen, the gist of it was that there were people who committed terrible atrocities. They would kill hundreds, thousands of people. They would shoot them in the back of the head. They would massacre them, chop them up with machetes. I mean, horrible stuff, And for some of these people were Buddhists. I forget what regime they were tied to. But the point is that when they committed these acts, there were people who, when investigated afterwards, when asked questions, they would say, they would be asked, how did you do it? How can you align your beliefs with this behavior? Buddhism. I mean, how can you be a member of a spiritual, sect that promotes tolerance and peace, but behave this way? And what was said so often is a kind of coping mechanism, was the idea that as the blade fell, or as the trigger was pulled in the gun, the agent was not acting as an autonomous being, but rather as a conduit for the deterministic forces of the universe. That when they killed over and over again, they weren't acting of their own volition. They were simply just a way of the universe channeling historical events through them. Essentially, they would remove their own agency as a way of contextualizing their behavior. This is common historically, by the way. Literally, I am the hand of God. Christians would say this, but they wouldn't say God, of course. They would say, like, the universe is acting through me, Okay, no Buddhist beliefs, that's just weird Nazi spirit science. All religious people will twist and torment their own beliefs if it's convenient to them, no matter how well-disciplined they claim to be. But this idea of a kind of spiritual determinism, I think, is dangerous because it does allow you to remove yourself. Stalin did this as well, Stalin, he understood, I think, that he was a monstrous person, but he didn't think of himself as a human being in some respects. I see people are like defending Buddhism here. Guys, Jesus also didn't call for the Crusades, okay? You could do this with every religious belief. Shush. Stalin understood what he was, but I think in many respects, Stalin thought of himself as a historical agent, more so than a person. Does that make any sense? So when Stalin, of course, he kills many, many people, and he's monstrous, and he purges the party, and he sends people to the gulags and stuff, and people starve by the millions. And he thinks, well, I'm not a person, I am an agent of history. I am he who will be recorded in the texts. I'm beyond any human morality. I'm a figure of Sodom, of the biblical times. I am the Crusades. I am the divine right of kings. It goes beyond like the personhood. Historically, there's a great precedent to people using a kind of spiritual dissociation, no matter how they choose to frame that, whether through historical or spiritual terms, to absolve themselves of the moral culpability for the behavior they engage in. I just think that's it's a thing that's happened, so...
Hunter, I did not come on here before I had my coffee to be yelled at. I came on here to have a conversation. This whole thing started because I was trying to illustrate emphatically that people on the internet were not capable of disagreement. We are allowed to have different belief systems. We are allowed to have different perceptions of the world. What is the First Amendment of the Constitution? Freedom of religion. I'm allowed to believe whatever the fuck I want.
So
I am allowed to believe
weird shit. That's in
You're allowed to believe
do you think that people who have spiritual beliefs, that sometimes influences their behavior in human form?
Not my spiritual beliefs. Christianity, sure. Yes.
Okay,
Islam, yes.
So a general understanding then is that certain levels of spirituality can affect your human life.
I think
and
that
so my
hold
on, wait, Karlyn.
I think that certain types of belief system are more likely to result in atrocities than others. And my belief system has never in the history of humanity resulted in an atrocity.
Okay, I'm not necessarily saying resulting in atrocity here. What I'm getting at is that it provides a level of justification. And I'm going to keep going back to this until I'm able to get my full point out, which is that people's spiritual beliefs can absolutely play a role in influencing their day-to-day behavior. And these spiritual beliefs that you are presenting, not you personally, but the spiritual beliefs that you are presenting, provides a level of justification for atrocities committed in human form. Because what you're saying is that, well, if all the spirits collectively chose to suffer in the Holocaust, then Hitler is at some level justified in carrying out the Holocaust.
Then give me a single example in all of human history when someone has used that as a justification for
I don't
committing
need
an atrocity.
to. Remember how I said humans
You do need to.
No,
you do need to. You are the one making the argument.
Remember?
You are the one making the argument that this is justification. Provide me one single instance in all of human history when anyone who has committed an atrocity has used this specific belief system as justification for committing that atrocity. Just one.
Well, if you say this specific one, you're limiting, it's a little hard to work with that because I don't know if anyone else has this specific belief system. But
you don't need to do that. No, I don't.
That's the argument.
We're talking about a hypothetical.
You're making an argument that's roughly akin to saying communism just hasn't been tried. Like, are you kidding me?
I'm posing you a potential issue with this mindset, and I'm asking you if you think that that's possible, that could happen.
It has not happened in all of human history, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. Yeah, I guess this just kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is how like
If you could
you're
provide
able
me
to
a
engage in
single
hypotheticals,
example
right?
It's
in
a
all of
goofy
human
goober
history
convo.
of it happening,
It
then I
doesn't
would
have to
say
be a
yes,
huge
maybe it should
genocide.
be.
It's this mindset right here that's giving some kind of a level of
Provide me one
justification.
single example in all of human history
Your
when it's happened.
tweet, your tweet, Karlyn, is
Oh,
providing.
my tweets are an atrocity?
No,
Are my
hold on,
words
no. I didn't
violence,
say
Hunter?
atrocity.
Are
I said
my words
justification.
violence?
I did not say atrocity. I said justification. Because if you believe that all the spirits collectively chose to suffer in the Holocaust, then Hitler is at some
I
level
believe that
justified in
every
carrying out those
single
acts.
every single person chooses their life experience. Every single one.
That's
every single
fine.
one.
But then that also gives a level of justification to people that commit heinous acts,
And
right?
yet no heinous acts have ever been committed in the name of this belief system in the entirety of human history.
Okay,
And you
this
cannot give
is-
me one
this is-
example of one
this
that's
is
happened.
dumb.
I can give
If he was or
pretty
not.
sure Hitler
Because
was an
again, I'm
atheist.
not saying that
Your
this has
belief
happened.
system resulted in the Holocaust.
I'm not
Hitler
saying
was
that
an
this is.
Okay, all right. Okay. This is all right. I think it's a mental break. I'm just calling it a mental break. I don't care. Chud Logic just radio on Twitch. Oh, howdy, Chud Logic, N-word enjoyers. What's up? Nice. You know? Howdy. All right. What was that? I saw Hunter tweet about this, though I didn't know. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Karlyn admits she lied about me because she thought I acted in bad faith despite barely being able to speak. Incredible. Stop lying about me. Also, it's contested whether or not Hitler was atheist and I own. That's what happens when you don't act in good faith. Karma's a bitch. I must have chosen this in the spirit realm. Holy shit. Listen. Listen, okay? This might have to be my refrain, okay? Politics is dumb but important is a good refrain. But this is also a good refrain. And it's remember, okay? About 50% of online politics is mental illness, okay? Stay above it all right? Keep your eyes forward, keep your mind on the grind, okay? Because you're gonna get dragged into a fucking whirlpool real goddamn quick. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. 50 sounds low. I might be lowballing that really far. Yeah, but you know, I'm gonna be charitable here and say 50. Karlyn says she was trolling. That has nothing to do with my mental illness assessment, okay? She's totally trolling. This isn't what trolling is. Do you guys remember back when trolling meant a person disingenuously adopting evocative talking points to infuriate other people and not a person shitting their pants and wetting their diaper, and when everyone starts laughing at them, they like smile and shuffle off and go like, well, it was a meme. Yeah, I remember those days.